What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Kevin Jackwitz here with the Kaged Review, and I wanted to talk today about Infinity War and what it means for the upcoming MCU universe. It's really tough to know what they're really going to do. To be honest, there's a lot of speculation. The reality is we don't really know. We have a lot of thoughts about what's really happening and what's not really happening. As far as like deaths and how many deaths are going to stick. My personal opinion on this is that everybody that died before Thanos snaps his fingers is dead. So you're looking at Loki, Heimdall, Gamora, the Collector. So not necessarily the biggest names except for Loki, really. Maybe Gamora. But I think they're going to find a way to reverse the damage done by Thanos snapping his fingers and killing off everybody. I looked at what future movies are definitely in development, and the only two actual original Marvel MCU movies that are in development are Captain Marvel and the second Infinity War or Avengers movie. And that's it. You have Deadpool coming out, which is now under the Marvel banner. They're talking about the Dark Phoenix. But nothing else really under the MCU banner except for, we already know Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out later this year. So it brings into question, how are they going to bring everybody back and what's really going to happen with Thanos? I think that Doctor Strange had a plan when he handed Thanos the Time Stone. And he even said to Stark, this is the only way. You know, he looked at the future and he saw like 14 million some odd variables of the future where Thanos wins and only one where the Avengers won. And I think that keeping Tony Stark was necessary for that win. So I think that the Time Stone's going to play a part somehow, that they're going to reverse time back before Thanos snapped his fingers. That brings into question who is actually going to kill Thanos. In the comics, there were a couple of people that killed Thanos. One being Drax the Destroyer, which actually, that tells you how misrepresented Drax is in the movies, because he's very cool. I love Dave Bautista. He's a lot of comic relief for the movies, but they don't make Drax as badass as he actually is. And that's actually kind of sad, because Drax is super badass. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about is Adam Warlock was born at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Adam Warlock is the other person in the comics that has killed Thanos. Adam Warlock is super powerful and poses a real threat. So, I'm wondering if they're going to try to stay true to the comics and actually bring in Adam Warlock, and then holy shit, this guy is wrecking shop. That would be cool to see, honestly. That would be very cool to see Adam Warlock show up. Especially since you just took out Vision. Vision is one of the characters that died before the finger snap. So Vision is probably dead. And honestly, I have a feeling that more than one of the original kind of OG Avengers, Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Thor, I think they're going to get killed. And I don't think it's a question of if, I think it's a question of who and how many. I think this is the shift from the original Marvel series collections. You know, you've already got the Iron Man trilogy, Captain America trilogy, Thor trilogy. And while I think a lot of people wouldn't mind that continuing on and seeing part 4 for a lot of those movies, I don't see it happening. I see them going from the original Avengers to kind of what they were doing at the end of the second Avengers, where they were training the new recruits and building them up and building up these new series. Because the rumor is that Spider-Man 2 is supposed to be in development next year. Well, Spider-Man just died. So that brings into question, okay, are they really killing these characters, or are they bringing them back for new episodes in their series? You would have to imagine that they would not kill off Black Panther with the success of that movie. That movie is, what, number 5th of all time? So, that says something. And I don't think they're going to cough up that much killing off Black Panther this quickly. I don't see that happening. So you have Spider-Man, you have Black Panther, you've only had one Doctor Strange movie, so you have to believe he's not really dead. They could probably finish out a trilogy for Guardians of the Galaxy. And that would be really interesting considering that Gamora probably is dead now. So you have that. You have Captain Marvel, which comes out next year. So they have a huge base that they can still work from and build up these new franchises. And so I'm a firm believer that they're not going to kill all these characters off this quickly. Now, I could be wrong, and so they could shock everybody and be like, no, these characters are actually dead. Because they still have a lot to work with, to be very honest. They're talking about starting a Black Widow franchise. And again, they've got Captain Marvel to work with. So it's not like they don't have a lot that they could utilize. And plus, they have the X-Men now. So there's all kind of potential there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they really do. My personal belief is that they're going to use the Time Stone, they're going to rewind time, and I'm really hoping that they bring in Adam Warlock. Because realistically, he would be the legitimate badass to kill Thanos. One thing they may do, and I think it would be kind of cool, is that Hulk, after getting his ass beat by Thanos, doesn't want to come back and face that beating again, but then finally finds his courage, comes back, and he's part of the team that helps really kill Thanos. That would be cool. I don't know. I feel like they might go more that route, but I think it would be really cool to see Warlock. I think it would make sense given all the history we already have with the original Avengers that they would bring in the Hulk at the end, and you know, it's a team effort where Hulk really gets his revenge. So ladies and gentlemen, those are my initial thoughts on what's going to be happening here at the end of Infinity War and beyond. I think so far Adam Warlock is untapped potential. So my hopes are high with that one. And honestly, I thought that they were going to have Ant-Man and the Wasp in this movie, and clearly they did not. So I'm really hoping that Ant-Man and the Wasp are in the next movie, maybe Hawkeye. I honestly thought that Hawkeye was going to be one of the quick deaths at the beginning of the movie, and they really threw a curveball with killing off Heimdall and then Loki. Because Heimdall's a character you're like, okay, you know, he's cool, we like him, but he's not one of the main characters. And then they kill Loki right behind him, and we're like, oh shit. So, yeah, I feel like there's a whole lot of untapped potential there. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think. Let me know your speculations in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. Kaged Nation out.